from like all over or just the Seattle
Yes.
area? Oh, all over. Okay.
We've even had a band from Ireland. We've had Spain,
Ooh.
Germany. I mean, it's everywhere. So.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, very, very cool. But yeah, it's always fun to connect with people in our scene. In fact, I've been watching some of your videos and seeing that you're playing a lot of the clubs in our area.
Oh, sorry, you're kind of echoing. Can I?
Oh,
yeah. Sorry. Is it my end?
I'll be back. It might be me.
Okay.
I'll be right back, everybody. Keep it going, crap.
Oh, okay. Oh gosh. You know, it may just be my head. If that changes things. Is it working?
No, it was kind of echoing.
Okay, yeah. All right. Sorry about that.
No worries.
Okay.
How did you guys get started in music?
What's that?
How did you guys get started in music?
Like as a band or just individually?
Individually and as a band.
Okay. Well, long story short for me, I started playing music when I was in 3rd grade. My dad got a piano and I started learning piano. And then from there I started playing clarinet in 5th grade and I was like really, really good. And then I started playing guitar in middle school. And my parents didn't want me to learn guitar at first. I don't know why. They just didn't. And I pressured them hard enough. And so I started playing guitar. And then I got my music degree in college. And then fast forward to 2019, I met Tom Sloan, who's the love of my life, and will hopefully be here soon. And we started a band together, and I got a good friend of mine, Paul Abner, who you see here, to play drums.
That's awesome.
Oh, that's great.
I'm sorry, Maxine, were you saying something? Okay, I'm sorry. No, Paul, you go ahead and talk. I'll stop.
Oh, no, it's okay.
What am I talking about? How did I start?
Talk about yourself, Paul.
Yeah, tell us about yourself.
Well, I'm 45. I started playing music. I got a guitar. My auntie gave me a guitar for Christmas when I was in the 3rd grade. And then I started, doing whatever kids can do. I think I had those Ernie Ball, like learn how to play, strum some chord things. And
really, I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah,
wow.
And then I just kind of did that whole thing until I got to college and decided I wanted to actually learn how to do something and majored in music there. And maybe someday I'll learn how to play the drums.
You know how to play the drums? Come on.
Are you sure? Are you sure? Yeah, so, I've known Celeste for 6 or 7 years now, and she asked me if I would play the drums for her group that she has with Tom, and I'd kind of whacked away at the drums a little bit before, but never anything serious. And I'd never really practiced, just kind of flung my arms around and hope for the best kind of thing. And I'm still doing that, but the best gets a little bit better each day. I guess you call that practice. And so yeah, I now play the drums.
That's awesome. We are also percussionists.
Yeah, aren't you both in a Fatal Butterfly? Is that it?
Oh, I'm in
Fatal Butterfly.
Oh, you're in Fatal Butterfly. Okay. I was going to say, I thought you looked familiar.
Yeah.
I'm from a band called the Maxwells. I am also in a band with my husband, and we're a power duo.
Yeah. So hence you're the Maxwells.
Yes, exactly. I'm representing Fatal, though. Fatal Butterfly.
Oh, nice.
My other band has played a couple shows with Fatal Butterfly, so that's why I recognized you. Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah, I remember the Central Saloon was actually where I saw you guys because I went to see Tinfoil Top Hat there, and so that's why you looked familiar.
That sounds like a fun lineup.
Oh, have you? The Central Saloon is awesome. It's one of my favorite
Yeah.
places to play.
That was
Very
a good
cool.
gig. That was a great space.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It sucks bringing the drums up and down the stage because
Oh my God, yeah. Those steps
this
are really steep.
is-
Oh,
Yeah.
that's that
That's
venue. Okay. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
and there's only one way in and out, and that's through the front
Oh
Well,
my.
it keeps you humble,
door.
so that's a
so
good thing.
if it's
That is.
if you have
Worked out. So
I'm sorry, Maxine, you were saying something before?
Oh, gee, before I cut out.
Yeah.
Oh, I think I was just really excited that you connected, and I was going to ask about your journey as a musician.
Yeah, yeah.
And it sounded like Crash kept it going with that question because I popped
she
in
did,
and
she
I
did.
think I heard the tail end of that. So
Yeah, and
sorry about my audio.
Tom
I've been
gets
having really weird internet issues lately. So
yeah, I was right before we got on, so I think it's everywhere.
I think so too. We've been experiencing some crazy weather out here,
Mm-hmm.
especially yesterday. Crash and I were just talking about how we had tornado warnings yesterday, which is very odd.
Do we have tornadoes in Seattle?
No, we don't. We
I didn't think
shouldn't.
so.
No,
it was
that makes no sense that
Tacoma.
we had warnings.
The tornado
Okay.
warning was for Tacoma, but
Huh.
we're at work and the wind is just blowing, and our customers are hating, being outside, like waiting for their orders,
Oh,
and like Adam's just like, oh, I guess there's a tornado warning. And I was like,
Better get your food fast because you might get sucked up in this tornado any moment.
and then he's like, oh, never mind, it's Tacoma. I'm like, okay, well,
I
And
heard.
it's Tacoma, whatever.
yeah. Hopefully it clears spikes out. Like, ugh.
I did hear that there were some sightings of tornadoes near Bainbridge Island. So,
Ooh.
yeah, I heard that from someone I work with that their family saw tornadoes.
Huh.
I didn't even
Crazy.
know about. I didn't even know. I'd never experienced earthquake drills and things like that until I moved out here.
Where are you from?
Because I'm from Eastern Washington and we don't ever deal with that.
Oh, right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm from Eastern Washington, so it's
Sweet. Well,
yeah.
that's fun.
Well,
Saying hey to our chat. We've got an active chat tonight, and
sweet.
they might be asking you some questions. So
Okay. Oh, cool. They're showing up on the bottom.
yeah.
That was my drummer girl today.
Tom,
Yeah,
how you
doing
or
good.
Paul, how you doing tonight?
Right?
I'm doing awesome.
Good. Hear that.
Well, and I'm not sure if you were asked already because I got disconnected earlier trying to fix my audio. But how long have you guys been a band?
2 years now.
Awesome.
So we made the horrible mistake of getting started right before COVID.
Oh, I was kind
Yeah.
of thinking that, not that it was horrible, but like, wow, you must have formed right before the COVID shutdown.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
did. And what really sucked was we got all these gigs lined up right before COVID hit. And so we played a show at the Central and that went pretty well. It was our first gig as a full band. And then we did a show at Tim's Tavern, may it rest in peace, and that was awesome. And then we're like, yay, we're gonna have more shows. And then COVID happened and we're like, fuck.
Right.
I hear Tim's Tavern will be back.
Oh, do you know when?
It's just at a different location.
Oh my gosh, that
Cool.
well, that makes us extremely happy.
Good to know.
That's really weird. But yeah.
We've often, well, Paul and I have often said that if you do not support any other venue in Seattle, you've got to support Tim's.
Oh man, I have played Tim's more times than any other venue. And
I
I
have
played.
two.
Yeah,
Gosh, I just
there's
love.
only
I love them so much.
that you do. I swear.
Yeah, they're just the best. They really are.
Yeah.
Like
So
they've
where
always
else,
been so good to us. Oh, yeah,
where
go
else
ahead.
sorry. Where
No
else have you
worries.
been? So you've played at quite a few places. I've seen different video feeds from like Tony V's and like we mentioned the Central.
So we've played Tony V's, we've played the Central, we played the Anchor Pub in July. I'm just gonna leave it at that because of all the shit going on with the Anchor
Oh,
Pub.
right. We know. We played there and we know.
Anyway,
Yeah.
let's see. We've also played the Mirkwood Public House in Arlington. That place is
Yeah.
awesome.
I
Like
love
I just
that.
wish it was closer to everything else. Like that's my only
Oh,
complaint.
yeah.
Such a
I-
huge stage.
Where else? Oh, the Factory Lux. We did the Factory Lux recently,
Nice.
and that's a really great space. We played the Fun House in September.
Mm.
Let's see. Oh, we just played the Skylark last Friday.
Oh, that's right. I saw that. That's cool.
And then
I like
next. Oh yeah, I mean it's one of the venues in Seattle, so it's like we had to have played there at some point. Paul, am I missing any others?
Well, we played at Lucky Liquor a few weeks
Oh
ago.
right,
Oh,
right. We played
yes.
Lucky Liquor.
We played there. We played at Daryl's Tavern.
I love Daryl.
I got my crew whispering in my ear. It's hard for me because I play in two bands. I'm like, I don't remember where each one of them is played. Everything just gets muddled in my brain, which has
It really
trying
does.
to fight from my
Good.
attention there. So I'm like, oh, yeah, did we play there? I've played there. Have we played there?
I've certainly been there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but
So
we
he
our
said he's playing the show.
Digging the Light Show.
um
Those are smart LEDs.
yeah, you sure got a holy crap. Yeah, I didn't even notice it until now, but
Oh no. The best thing about me right now. Are you kidding
Right.
me?
I mean, there's so many good things about you. It's hard to just pick one,
It's the best.
Oh, the best. That's great.
We're actually a very self-deprecating group.
Oh,
Like, I actually kind of worry about that sometimes because it's like I don't really take myself seriously. I take myself seriously as a musician, but like nothing else. And so like sometimes I think people might assume that I'm nervous, but I'm really not. Like I like to crack jokes at my own expense. I mean, I only tell people that I have low self-esteem so that way they'll feel guilty and like our page,
check.
It doesn't work a lot, but sometimes it does.
Oh, thank you.
Writing down that tactic, making notes.
Self-esteem. Yeah, great.
Well, I mean, I guess it gives more legs than I am awesome, like my page.
I mean, I really have. Sorry, I couldn't tell who was trying to.
Oh no, nothing. Might have been a glitch. I don't know.
I
My
swear,
audio
sometimes,
is terrible tonight. I'm sorry, everybody.
it's okay. Sometimes I don't know. Haven't really navigated like live stream etiquette and things like that with like people talking and all that.
It's
So-
okay. Feel natural. Just yeah. We want you to feel like you're hanging out. There is a little slight delay, especially if we have weather happening in between servers. So, yeah, you're doing fine. No worries.
Okay, cool. What was I saying? Oh yeah. No, I think when it comes to, and Paul, you can correct me if I'm wrong.
Wrong.
But I think. Well, just let me speak first.
Sorry, I jumped the gun.
No, I kind of think as a band, like we don't take ourselves very seriously. We don't take the world very seriously, and I think that comes off in our music. Like we just like laughing at laughing at other people.
Fun.
What's that?
And your songs are really fun. And I had a question about one of your songs.
Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
Are you a Bob's Burgers fan?
I am.
See, I knew it.
Yes, that one song is about a Bob's Burgers episode.
Oh, baby.
I knew.
I was right. We had a bet. My husband and I was like, this is written in the perspective of Tina. Listen to it. He's like, no, this song is about getting laid. I'm like, Tina getting laid.
About getting laid.
Yeah.
It's about Tina getting laid. Because we all want to watch Tina get laid.
Right.
I actually wanted to, and Tom laid down a hard no on this, but I actually wanted to call our debut album Erotic Friend Fiction. And Tom was like, no.
Please do this.
Okay.
Oh, why didn't you tell me that? I literally had production control over that album. I could have vetoed that. No.
I think that's probably why Tom now wants to have production control. Because I had that idea and he was just like, no, we're not doing that.
That's a great idea.
Oh, we're digging.
It's a great idea, yeah.
Now I feel sad.
I know, right?
Now my heart is heavy. That didn't happen.
I knew it.
Well, let's make Tom feel bad about it when he gets here.
I'm just going to steal it.
Come on. Yeah, I knew it. I won the bet.
What did
Yeah,
you win?
we're pretty much open books about where our songs come from.
So you think that Jimmy Jr. has a chance more than Zeke, Tina? Okay.
I mean, to me, I don't know. Zeke is he's like a fuckboy in training.
I agree. I totally agree on that.
But I do this amazing Linda Belcher voice because my dad's whole side of the family is from New York and they're Long Island. And I like to talk like Linda Belcher just to piss off Tom. I'm just like, Tom, you didn't put the dishes away again. Why do I have to do all the work around here? It's not fair.
You need the glasses and wine. Oh my God, you're a hero. Oh, this is so good.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, hey, look, Tom's here.
Oh.
Hello.
Yay. Hi, Tom.
Oh.
We're making executive decisions without you.
Oh, excellent. That's exactly what I need.
So I was telling them that my original idea for the album title was Erotic Friend Fiction, and you struck it down.
Uh-huh.
And they all think that you made a really terrible decision.
Okay.
And just,
literally the worst decision ever.
Yeah. See?
I love Bob's Burgers. That's all I can say.
We do too. Tom, why did you have to strike down my decision for the album title? It was so funny.
I had to use my full veto on something.
You use your full veto on everything else. All you ever do is bitch and moan about the songs that I'm writing, the chord progressions I'm using.
That's objectively not true.
This is going to get interesting.
We're going to be working out all our relationship problems here.
Well, I just wanted to point out when we were talking about, how you got started as musicians and Paul was sharing his story. Celeste was, just as surprised as us because not always do band members focus on that. You just get together, you write music, you talk about other things.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that we hear quite a bit on this show that musicians don't really share all of that with each other. And then they get to learn about each other while being interviewed?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I know these two guys pretty well. I mean, like I said, Paul and I have been friends for years. Paul knew me when I was just a mediocre singer-songwriter. I'm slightly better than I used to be.
Slightly.
I mean, I progressed. I mean, I like to think that I progressed from like writing about boys to writing about things like Bob's Burgers and
Fictional boys, yeah.
to writing about things like Bob's Burgers, old people, cats, also boys.
Cats.
Yeah.
That's good too.
Next on the docket, Xenu for sure.
Nice. Oh my goodness. Lots of fun. So Tom, how did you get started as a musician?
So I got started in 7th grade band, playing tuba. That's where I started.
He looks like a tuba player.
Yeah. Oh well. Yes. No tube socks here.
I looked at your Tinder picture and I'm like, this bastard plays tuba.
No.
Sorry, continue. I'll shut up.
Okay, so yeah, that was when me and my family were living in Sacramento. So next stage is we moved to Kentucky when I'm like in 8th grade. And, you know, by that time transitioning into high school, you know, people are listening to this like rock and roll nonsense. And I kind of go, well, I'd like to get into this. I'm already playing a bass instrument, so I'll get a bass guitar. And, you know, so that kind of took me from, you know, the quasi-classical world into the popular music world. And then, you know, eventually jazz started to work its way into things.
Sweet.
There you go.
Cool.
And then after Tom got his jazz degree, he started looking down on everybody else.
Oh no, that started long before the degree happened.
Man, it sounds like band practice would be really interesting with a couple.
Oh, it is.
Right?
Actually, I think it was like our last one, actually. I don't know how this subject got started, but Paul was like, and pretty soon, like, you know, there are these morons that watch Ancient Aliens. And I was like, hey, I resent that.
Right?
Yes.
I like Ancient
we both took
Aliens.
offense. Like, we don't take offense to a lot of the shit that Paul says, but we did take offense to that.
Oh my goodness.
You crossed the line there, Paul.
I mean, it's just weird that turned out to be the most offensive thing that I had said. I mean, some shit falls out of my mouth, and that's what got him. I'm like, okay. And then that's where the hard line is. I found it. All right.
Make a note. Don't go there with Ancient
Don't
Aliens.
go there with the Ancient Aliens. All that other really offensive stuff that just comes barfing out. Yeah, I get a pass on that, but
Goodness.
don't disparage that show.
For Ancient Aliens, you don't cross that line.
Don't cross
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah.
You know, it was kind of funny because, like, when you were gearing up to, like, I have to ask you a question about one of your songs. I was sitting there and I'm like, and I was immediately like, oh, she's going to ask me about that one. Yes, that song is about masturbation. And then it turned out it was actually about, and I was like, oh, okay. She asked me if I was a Bob's Burgers fan from listening to Jimmy Jr. I thought she was going to ask me about It's Okay, because that's the one everybody wants to know about.
It's okay.
I'm surprised the question isn't whether or not Nancy is a real person, but I guess, you know, we haven't released Nancy yet,
we haven't
officially.
Officially,
so.
yeah.
Well, now that we're on this, is Nancy a real person?
She is. Well, she is a real person. She's actually based on like a couple people I know.
Really?
But like mainly one person, I bet.
Oh.
Gotcha.
I'm hoping that Nancy will kind of be like, one of the women that Steely Dan has written about, and it'd be like everybody's confused. Is she fictitious? Is she not?
Yeah.
Who is she inspired by? We want to know, and we never get a good answer. But then
Oh,
we go out
yeah.
and play it, and Celeste just goes, "This is somebody I know. She exists. It's real." I'm kind of disappointed on that level.
I won't say it from now on.
It's too late. You've already put it out into the world.
So
It's okay.
more like she's more a combination of people. Like she's like this one 92-year-old woman that I know who's just like, she's probably like the horniest bitch that I've ever met. And she's very open about it too.
Wow. You would have
Yeah.
never guessed that she was in her 90s. That's great.
Oh my gosh, like she's like, did I tell you about the time that I slept with that one professor? And I was like, yeah, you've talked about that a few times. Yeah, you have.
You were really digging it, I guess.
She's like the type of person that will like go openly hit on your husband in front of you.
Oh, yes. The little old ladies get away with that sometimes.
They
Most
do.
I'm so excited for that. Oh my god, I even have so much fun with that. I really am.
Dude, they can like.
It's like I really wrote that song because I was so inspired. I'm like,
But it's okay because they're 92.
exactly. I mean, when I'm 92, I'm gonna get away with all sorts of shit. I'm really excited about it.
I
Oh,
think we all will, right?
me too.
I think a lot of people have this fear of getting older, and for me, it's like I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to not giving a shit anymore. It's like I don't have to worry about what I look. If I were to go to prison for something, it's like I'm gonna die soon anyway. Like, why do I care?
Right. I find that the older I get, the less fucks I give. That's for sure.
Except that one time I wanted to give a fuck, but then the fuck got stuck.
Like,
Tom really likes Robot Chicken.
No, just that one bit. Just the one bit.
Yeah. Well, we're just gross.
You're
We're
not.
probably
You're fabulous. I'm so glad we found you.
yeah.
Oh, thank you.
That
Probably
Jimmy
scaring
Jr.
away a
song is on my top 10 list. Like,
Oh my god, really?
I'm like freaking. I was listening to. I'm like, oh my god, this is Bob's Burgers. No. I'm like, oh
Yeah.
yes. Listen, Tina is across the street talking
And
about.
she's got a lady boner going on in her pants right now.
Yeah.
Oh, Tina.
God,
Oh my goodness. Oh man, I told Alex that would make my night. I'm like, it's gonna make my night if that's about Bob's Burgers. I will try to talk about other things. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Just excited.
No worries.
And how funny that I'm more excited about that than it's okay, But I am satisfied knowing who Nancy sort of is as well.
Oh yeah, that song's gonna be on our EP. We've had a lot of fun with that one. It kind of been in the works for a while for me because it's like I also got inspired by this one woman that I would see at the gym who had like bright pink hair and she always wore like a bright pink tracksuit. And like I don't know if she was like on drugs or something every time. I don't know if she was like on drugs every time she was at the gym, but she would just be like doing this like around the track. And she didn't give a fuck who was watching. I was like, I admired that. Like sometimes like I would be running and I'd be like, bitch, move, and then I'd stop myself and I'd be like, you got no right to judge Celeste because this is the bitch you want to be when you're that age. So don't you be judging.
I was out of the store and there was this lady just I think she had a Walkman actually. And she's just boogieing, singing out loud and not on key.
I love it.
Not giving a shit what she's just dancing and singing, and I was just like, it's one of those commercials where this is how you think you sound, and this is reality. You know what I mean? Like,
And then this is me not caring.
yeah, man, she was just, and I was like, I really admire that. Like, kind of wish I want to grow up like her. Like, just
When I grow up, I want to be her.
Yes.
fuck. It's just everything. I'm gonna boogie down the street.
I can see you. I can totally see you with your bright purple tracksuit and purple hair.
Yeah, no, we've had a lot of.
And I'll have
I
pink.
mean, I'll probably have purple hair.
Yes.
I don't know. That's
Yeah.
my favorite color. But yeah, we've had a lot of fun playing those songs in a live setting now. Like, we're the kind of band, and I think pretty much every band would say this, and they're probably right. But like, we're definitely the kind of band, like, we thrive more on being in front of an audience.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I mean, some bands are like really, really internet savvy and like know how to use the internet and things like that. Like, we're like Gen X, like we don't know. I mean, we're both millennials actually, both Gen X, but
I'm a Gen
sorry,
Xer.
sorry, maybe I shouldn't have said that.
I get so confused because I don't know where it begins or ends. Like, I never heard of the millennial term until I was older. So
You never heard of what?
well, I hadn't heard the millennials term until I was much older. Like, I thought I was a Gen X, but now it seems that I'm a millennial. But like, millennial was never a name for our generation when I grew up, anyway.
I always thought millennial was a derogatory term.
Is it? Okay.
I mean, I thought it was for a long time. And because like I would just, yeah, sort of, yeah. But then the funny thing is like I would hear boomers and Gen Xers just being like, "Oh, those damn millennials," and then I would be like, "Yeah, I know, right?" And they're like, "You're a millennial." And I looked at them and I'm like, "How dare you?"
The funny thing is us Gen Xers, we heard that from the boomers. Those damn Gen Xers. So now it's Gen X's turn to be like, those damn millennials.
Yeah, right. Okay.
They're the new boomers.
The problem, I don't know if this is actually a thing, but I really do feel like I was born in the wrong generation.
I think it's a thing. I relate. I envisioned when I was at least growing up in the 90s that I should have grown up in the 60s or 70s.
I mean, I would have been fine being a teenager in the 90s even. Like, I think I could have been okay with that.
I was a teenager in the 90s.
Yeah,
Sorry.
It's funny because people always say that. They always I wish I was born in the 1960s, but you kind of look at certain measurements and things have never been better. So I kind of stop and I go, no, like if anything, I want to be born like 20 years in the future, not 4 decades in the past. Because certain things just keep getting better, no matter what, no matter what idiot is in power, or no matter what funny term for the generation it is,
yeah, but then it could always end up like idiocracy,
Mm-hmm.
Where you have President Camacho running shit. They would say.
I don't know. Idiocracy is something I think we all are feeling.
Oh man.
Yeah.
It's a sign of the times. We don't know what to do with our garbage. China anymore.
Well, our show at the Skylark was a lot of fun. Like the one we had last week. Yeah, so we got Hades Market, Fool's Grace, and Shutter Speed to play with us. And Fool's Grace, we're friends with their guitar player Adam, mutual friends. And so we asked them, and then we had another band that was going to join us, but then dropped out. And they're like, "Hey, there's this band Shutter Speed that we just did a show with. Do you want to include them?" And I'm like, "Sure." You know, I'm the kind of person that's like, maybe I should be more like this, but I didn't really like listen to their stuff. I'm just kind of like, oh well, if Adam says they're good, then they're good, you know. And so I was like, yeah, sure, why not? And then like they came and they played, and I was like, holy shit, they are good.
They're good.
They were really good. Fool's Grace was really good too. Hades Market was really good. They were just all really good.
Mm-hmm.
That's
But
what
yeah,
I
that
love
was
about music. It's just you never know who's going to be your new favorite band.
right. I mean, gosh, we've just been really privileged to you know, kind of just interact with the bands that we have interacted with so far. You know, also bands like that don't sound anything like us too.
Yeah, and I kind of get the feeling that this wasn't always the case, but especially coming out of COVID, we've been seeing a lot of new bands come out of the woodwork, and even some bands that were around before the pandemic, but you know, have stuck it through, and we're kind of coming into contact with these people, and you know, it's like everybody's just very happy taking it all in. You know, all the diversity of sounds, and you know, just that there are other bands out there. You know, kind of. I don't know if this was necessarily the case, but it certainly seemed that way to me. That maybe, you know, before the pandemic, there was a lot of kind of fixed pie mentality, where you know, there's only so many music fans in the world, and I have to keep them all for myself. And so I'm just very happy to kind of see that dissipate, and you know, seeing new bands that are just very happy to share stages and and just have people, you know, come and listen to each other.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's just. I mean, yeah, we've just been very lucky. People have just been very open too, and that's really been the best part. Like, I don't understand. Sorry, what?
I think we're hearing some echo.
Oh, probably. And the other thing that we really benefit from is just getting to talk to people after shows. Like, I think that is such a vital part of it. Oh yeah, there's our echo. Like, we've just really met some really interesting people. We've learned a lot, and you know, we're continuing to do that, and so I think that's really important.
I always go to shows early, and I don't know, I usually chat with everybody before and after, and I don't know, that's one of my favorite parts of playing shows, and you know, not meeting just musicians but fans too.
Right. Yeah, it's yeah, that's I should have mentioned that. That's definitely a part of it too. I mean, since we are kind of a new band, like, you know, we're still working on trying to get our following. So, you know, one strategy that we have is just kind of networking with other bands, you know, being in their shows, meeting their fans. And fortunately, I think we live in an age now where people are not so, I stick in this one genre and I don't go anywhere else. We're not in that mindset anymore.
No, we're definitely not. And shows are being booked in that sense too. There's an array of different genres being booked together, and that's kind of fun for the audience too. It's not just one thing, it's a mix.
Yeah.
And it definitely introduces you to different bands and musicians in the whole scene that you're in. And yeah, I wanted to speak a little bit about, you know, that's why Tony or Crash and I started this. We wanted it to feel like we were all backstage or at a show and just hanging out, talking shop, talking about our journey. Yeah. So how cool that you had mentioned that that's one of your favorite parts of that.
I can remember, and this is a pretty recent show we did. We did one at Daryl's with Sweet Creature, Dink, I think that's, yeah, Dink,
Yeah.
and Kitty Junk. We don't sound anything like any of them. We love that. We love that. And so when Kitty Junk was advertising the show, it was like, come see the baddest punks around. I was like, oh, we're the baddest punks around? That is so cool. I didn't know we were the baddest punks around. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was an interesting lineup.
Was.
But, you know, again, you know, like, you know, you've got one band that's like doom sludge trio, you know, very, and
we're
you know,
probably misrepresenting the genre horribly.
very, and you know, they're still coming up after the show and saying, you know, hey, I like what you did, you know, and even, you know, fans that were there for Dank coming up and saying, hey, you know, I like what you're doing. There, you know, there are some things that I was not expecting that I liked.
Mm-hmm.
It's, you know, that's very, very heartening for, you know, just the future of music and also the future of just our local scene.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Right.
Because I think very often, and I know Paul's commented on this quite a few times, so Paul, jump in because we're going to say stuff that you've said before. But, like, there is, I think and I don't know if this is unique to Seattle or if it's just kind of a nationwide thing, but there just seems to be, like, this focus on, like, how many social media followers do you have? And does KEXP think you're cool? Like, are you friends with Mike McCready? Like, that seems to be like the criteria for, you know, being recognized as a band kind of in this area. And I think with COVID kind of just upending everything, I think that's starting to change.
Yeah.
So you know, there's some venues that have kind of given us that treatment, but also there's a number of venues that, you know, have not. So we're kind of seeing a very interesting mixed bag. And I guess maybe that's another thing to talk about is, you know, the direction or in some cases misdirection of the venues versus the scene itself.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, I'd kind of like to hear what you guys have seen as far as that goes. If you're seeing like a change in direction as far as like how the venues, you know, treat their bands or how they're booking or anything like that post pandemic.
I can't really say. The only show I played since the pandemic happened was a house show. It was a house party.
Okay.
So, but I mean, I hear venues, you know, have are treating their musicians really well.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I can attest to that. I've only played one show publicly at a venue after the whole COVID shutdown, and we were treated very well. We were, you know, we got free meal, we got paid very well, we made a lot of money off merch. So yeah, it's been I would say progressively better for bands.
I was gonna say, I feel like the venues appreciate the musicians more now because they know we're the ones bringing the people to their establishment.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of taking us for granted, they now appreciate us and treat us
Yeah, they
better.
missed us. Yeah, we all missed each other. It definitely
That's,
feels like
that's just my speculation.
Paul, what do you think?
Pardon?
What do you think?
I think that That's what I think. I think that so far the gigs that I've played with both the bands since the pandemic, since we've kind of started getting back into playing music, I have noticed the shows have been a bit better attended than they were before, and I don't know if that's just because people had gone a little bit stir crazy, or if people maybe did reprioritize some things, including maybe deciding not to work all the damn time and maybe get out and live their lives a little bit. I think there was I think pre-pandemic we were kind of up against that wall where, I mean, it's a bigger issue. I think we were up against that wall of, if people weren't like working 24/7 and really just driving themselves into the ground, they couldn't even make ends meet. And so I think that had a lot to do with show attendance lagging pre-pandemic, and also just there's a lot of venues that are still, living in 1993 and expecting that that's still the model that's going to work for a venue, and that's just not the case. And I think a lot of venues and a lot of people and a lot of bands have had to rethink where they fit into just the concept of creating something that that is sustainable, like where they fit into that picture. I don't think that we know what that's going to look like. I think we're still way too early in whatever this is to really have any predictors one way or the other about what that's going to look like. I hope that people have taken the time to reevaluate and think, I really used to like going out and doing things, and maybe I shouldn't just kill myself all the time. And
Right.
I hope people have gotten into that mindset. I know that I should probably take my own. So there's a little bit of that, because I still just drive myself like a rented mule, and maybe I should go out and have some fun sometimes. But I'm hoping people, reevaluate those things, and I'm hoping the venues realize that it's 2021 and it's not 1993. And
Yeah, right.
there's a whole bunch of people that have owned venues since then that are still living in that time, and they don't realize that the world has moved on and things are very different now. Even pandemic, like everything is just different now, and expecting that to be the model that they can run with and succeed, it's not realistic. So
no, there's a thing called evolution.
Because I've been playing music for a long time. I mean, I dove into playing gig, bar gigs back in like 1998 is when I really dove into like playing bar gigs, and even that was at the tail end of that old venue model being a viable one. Things really had changed even by then, and so I kind of caught the tail end of when it was viable to just be a middle class musician. You know what I mean? Like it's not really how things are going anymore. So I'm kind of in the camp with Tom. I'd like to have been born 20 years from now just to see where because we're just in this weird state of flux, and I'm not sure where it's going to land. And I feel like I might be a little bit too old when it finally does settle. Maybe I should, eat more kale so that I can see what happens.
But yeah, it's something that we like to research, talk about, kind of learn about, because, it's just, to be honest, it's like, it's not something that you're ever explicitly taught as a musician. Like, you have to just live it,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Crash has taught me a lot about the music scene because she's been part of it, like Paul, you were speaking to 98 era, and Crash was definitely, has been part of the Seattle music scene a lot longer than I have, and I've learned a lot from her about that, what the culture was like pre-pandemic.
Well, if I may there's a really great book, and I should probably warn you guys, like, it is very dense. There is a lot of stuff in it, and after reading a paragraph, you'll realize that you don't know anything.
Oh,
This
I
book,
wait.
How Music
That's-
Works, by the one and only David Byrne. This book is
Oh,
absolutely
I
amazing.
love that guy.
And
nice.
so, for those of you watching who unfortunately don't know this, David Byrne was the frontman of the Talking Heads. He's done a ton of stuff because he's David Byrne and he just does whatever the hell he wants. But anyway, one of the things he did was he wrote this book, and this was written back, I think, in 2012. And it literally goes into everything, and I mean everything. I mean, we start from, oh my God.
I'm adding that
We
to
start from like creation in reverse, a little book, a little memoir of his life story, technology shaping music, the recording studio, business, and then this one, how to make a music scene. He has a whole chapter devoted to that.
What?
Oh my God.
And and for those of you who are not in the know, like the Talking Heads were one of the CBGB's bands. So like, CBGB's was very famous for putting forth those punk bands of the 70s. And like, it's CBGB's isn't there anymore, but like legend lives on, So David Byrne was like one of the OGs of that. So it's like, if David Byrne tells me how to make a music scene, I'm gonna fucking do it because he knows what he's talking about.
Right?
I looked it up and it's for free on Amazon.
What?
Yes. If I'm reading this right, you can get this for free on audiobook through Amazon.
Nice.
That looks like
Yeah.
that's a zero.
That's fun. Yeah. Thanks for that. Yeah. I love learning about different reads, and yeah, I do know a little bit about the Talking Heads. Very cool.
Yeah, one of my big musical heroes, by the way.
Oh, that's good to know.
Oh yeah.
And well, speaking of inspirations, go ahead and tell us some of the musicians that inspire you.
Who wants to go first?
I think Paul should go first.
Paul, go first. Yeah.
Me?
Yeah.
Musicians that inspire me. Celeste. She inspires
Aww.
me. I'm actually not even. I'm not even joking. Actually, she does. Yeah.
That's awesome. I love that. How beautiful.
Other musicians who inspire me. I mean, I grew up listening to Pink Floyd, so there's that. Grew up listening to a lot of Pink Floyd, a lot of Jethro Tull. So, kind of, that's what's if there's a soundtrack in my head, it's that, just kind of playing on repeat until the day that I kick off. It's just those are the things that I was listening to when I decided that music was really worth doing for real. So. Yeah. Although I did just listen to Jethro Tull's new single, and
How was it? Oh, and okay, so I have something to speak to. Mentioned last week, I had listened to one of the new Limp Bizkit songs off the album, and I was pretty blown away because I'm not a Limp Bizkit fan, but I'll listen to some. I really appreciate Orlin. But I was like, yeah, the Limp Bizkit album's pretty good. And then I listened to the rest, and most of it's okay. I mean, Wes Borland did a lot of justice for that album, but some of it's, I get it.
yeah, I was pretty disappointed with the new Jethro Tull single. I'm like, it doesn't have any of the. I mean, the thing that I really loved about listening to Jethro Tull was just this just urgency and immediacy of every note on those older albums, and this was just so opposite of that. There was nothing about the song that I felt really needed to be written at all. There was no urgency or immediacy or necessity for anything about the track, and I was like, maybe I'll listen to it again because I was half asleep. We'll give it another shot.
You broke my heart, Ian. You broke my heart.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Although I'm also the same guy that I had this back in the late '90s, whenever they had those it was like CD clubs where they like send this stuff in the mail, and
Oh yeah.
so I got I was
6 years old at the
drunk
time.
all the time, and I got this Porno for Pyros CD in the mail, and
Yeah.
slap this thing in the CD player. CDs are a thing that used to exist, and I listened to it, and I just hated every single moment of this piece of trash. I slapped it, but I was stuck with it because I didn't mail it back, and I stuck it on my shelf, and there it sat. And it literally this disc sat there for a year, February to February. Yeah. And so finally, a year later, I'm in my house. I'm drinking way too much beer or whatever, and I just couldn't find anything that I wanted to listen to. So I pulled this god awful thing off the shelf and I stuck it in one of my favorite albums. I just.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of shitty mood I must have been in the first time I listened to it, but I literally cannot say enough good things about that album. It's amazing. So maybe I'll give the new Tull track another listen in a year. Who knows?
So here's a question for you, Paul. Do you think that maybe the lack of immediacy, would that be maybe because it was recorded like very on the grid? Like in Pro Tools or what have you, or do you think it's like a compositional thing?
I think it's both, actually. I think it's a combination of both because it is very, it's the recording is perfect to the point of being sterile. So there is some of that going on, and that's not really my thing. I like to, I'll nudge some things and quantize some things, but really it's not really my thing. But also, like, there was just nothing rhythmically or melodically, like, I could listen to the whole track. I couldn't sing any of it to you. As soon as I listened to it, I couldn't have sung any of it back to you. Like, there's nothing even interesting at all to hold on to in it. So, and it's not just because Martin Barr is not in the band anymore. He's one of my favorite guitar players, but there was nothing wrong with the guitar playing. Everything that was there was something that Martin Barr could have played. There just wasn't anything all that interesting about it. So, but maybe it's the most amazing thing in the world and I need to wait a year. I don't know. Maybe I just don't know what I'm doing. So
that's whatever tactic you use, I guess.
Right, yeah.
Well, for me, a lot of my inspirations are like the singer-songwriters of the 60s and 70s. Like Stevie Nicks was probably one of my biggest ones. Stevie Nicks, Carole King, Joni Mitchell, love them. Absolutely love them. Like Fleetwood Mac was probably like the earliest, and Fleetwood Mac and Elton John were like the earliest music that I listened to, and I can remember just loving because my dad was into them. Like, I went to a Fleetwood Mac show with my parents in 2013.
Oh, that's so cool.
It was great. It was great. So that's been like my earliest influence, but like, I don't know. I've kind of like everything. Like, I like one of my favorite bands is Primus.
I love Primus.
We went to their show in at Merrymore Park this summer. It was so good.
Yeah, the Tribute to Kings show.
Oh, also love Rush as well.
Is great.
Yeah, Jethro Tull, Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin. Yeah, I kind of, and then it's like interesting because when we've had independent music reviewers like reviewing our stuff, they say that we sound like all these bands that I've like never heard of before. So I'm kind of like, okay. And so like I'm feverishly listening to these bands and I'm like, did I rip them off at some point and I didn't know it?
Oh goodness. Hey, we did have a question from the chat. So
cool.
Larry wants to know your favorite 80s hair band.
That was easy for me.
Oh boy.
So my favorite 80s hair band is actually not an 80s hair band. It's Mr. Big.
They still came out in the late 80s.
Yeah, late 80s.
Favorite 80s hair band. I have to think about that for a sec. Oh
Poison.
gosh.
Yeah, Poison.
I was a Rat girl. I love Rat.
I would say Van Halen. I don't know if they count as hair metal.
Kind of.
That's a hair band. Oh, for
They're
sure.
hair band adjacent. That counts.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. They
wore leather pants. Close enough.
They have leather pants, shredding guitar solos, and way more testosterone than I can ever handle.
Well, I mean,
So
Eddie Van
I think
Halen had long hair, and David Lee Roth had long hair. No, it was 80s hair band.
Oh gosh, I think if I had to pick like an actual hair metal band, oh god, I don't even know. That's so tough. I mean, I like laughing at the 80s hair metal bands. Like, I love laughing at them.
Oh, here's a good one.
Oh, okay. If I had to pick the one that I really enjoyed laughing at, it was Poison, because they just all look like, I don't know. It's just the way they look.
I thought they were women when I was little. I was like, I love that chick band, man. I was telling you, I thought they were women. And
you thought they were the Bangles.
I thought they were like Roxette. I had no idea. I was confused. Roxette's bitching, man. Bitching.
I love Roxette. Yeah. Still. I will still put on some Roxette to this day.
Dude, everybody in the 80s was androgynous.
That's true.
Everyone.
I don't think Queen was. Well,
no, Queen was.
In I Want to Break Free, they were definitely androgynous. I guess more in the 70s they seemed more androgynous. But
yeah. Yeah, once Freddie went to the wife beater, I think androgyny kind of went out the window.
Yeah. Like, no joke, like, Queen's performance at Live Aid, like, made me want to be a musician. Like, I can remember watching that on DVD with my dad and being like, Dad, that's what I want to do. I want to be Freddie Mercury.
Freddie Mercury is by far my favorite male vocalist of all time.
Oh, my gosh. I mean, of course,
That's fair.
All time.
Also, who? Sorry, I think you cut out there. Oh gosh, I'm gonna be thinking about 80s hair metal the rest of the night now.
Oh dear.
Good. Should think about that.
New playlist.
That's right.
Well, I'm a little surprised nobody's asked about our favorite 90s grunge bands. Are we gonna get to that?
Well, we are from the Pacific Northwest, right?
Right.
So do tell your favorite grunge band.
Yeah.
Very, very cliche, but Nirvana. I mean, how can I not? And I haven't listened to enough Alice in Chains to really make I mean, from what I've heard, I liked.
I love Alice in Chains. I love them.
I probably should not be saying this because we do want to suck up to Mike McCready one day in order to get a major record deal. Like we want to do that. Like that is anyway. So if hopefully this will be off the record and Mike McCready will never see this, but I think Pearl Jam is spectacularly okay.
I'll addendum.
You're right. They're okay.
They're okay.
I'll addendum that just to say that the first two records I think were phenomenal. Something changed after that second record. I'm not sure what it was. Might have had something to do with the change of drummer, maybe, but suddenly it just like with Paul and Jethro Tull, it kind of lost the urgency and the kind of like there being a driving musical reason for why these notes are being played.
Yeah.
And there was something very interesting about the melody writing in those first two records. Like it was very not straightforward. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Maven Creative, if you're watching this, we do want to just addendum that we think that you are wonderful and that you just completely kick all the ass. And if you could help us get to the point that Thunder Pussy got to, like, we would be eternally grateful. And Mike McCready, we love you.
Dude, I
Okay, so
love
we
Thunder
have him in the
Pussy.
chat now. No, I'm just kidding. Watch
I
out.
think if he showed up in the chat, he would be like, "Stop coming to my house every day."
We told you, you gotta stay 50 feet away.
That's right. There's an order here.
I can remember meeting one of the members of Thunder Pussy. I went to one of their shows. It was Whitney, the guitarist, and she's just fucking incredible. And like
Right.
I was like really nervous when I saw her because she was just at the bar, and I'm like, oh my god. And Tom's like, just go talk to her, and I'm like, okay. I mean, if I make myself like a total creep, you're gonna get me out of there, right? And he's like, yeah, of course. And so I like walked up to her, and I'm just like, hey, I just wanted to say that I'm not a creep or anything, so you don't need to be like nervous. But I've listened to like everything that you've done with Thunder Pussy, and I just think that you're wonderful and that you're so amazing, and I just love you so much. And I'll go away now because I'm probably making you really uncomfortable right now. And she just was like, oh, come on over here, let's talk a little bit. And so we ended up chatting with her. I got a selfie with her. And then at the end, it was just like, and then right before I was about to leave, I was just like, okay, well, thank you so much. I really appreciate meeting you. And she just like comes over here. She's like, get over here. And she gives me a big hug. And I'm like,
Aww.
and then when I saw them at the Showbox on New Year's Eve, I walked up, I saw her at the bar again, and I just like walked over and I was like, hi. And she's like, oh yeah, you're the girl from the Portland show.
Yeah.
I just want to state for the record that Celeste is exaggerating her fangirliness a little bit. Just a little bit.
But she's a delightful person. She really is.
That's cool.
Just like,
I like how heroes are cool, not jerks.
yeah,
Yeah.
they often say it's good to not meet your heroes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
we've
say that's
heard
a bunch
that.
of hogwash. Although I should also add to that if I were to ever meet Geddy Lee, who yes is a personal hero, I would kind of hate that because I would have to talk about baseball.
Mhm.
Got to talk about baseball.
Yeah, so yeah, Geddy Lee's a big baseball fan.
Really?
At least from what I understand, I've read that on internet forums. Like you don't talk to Geddy Lee about music because he's tired of hearing about it. Talk to him about baseball.
Oh my goodness. Good tip. So you guys mentioned an EP.
Oh, yeah.
Where are you? Oh, sorry. I think I have a terrible delay. I'm sorry, everybody.
Sorry, I heard where.
I think I heard the letters EP.
Yes, you did. So I hear you recording an EP. Where are you recording that?
I hear you recording it. We are recording it here at our house.
It's about 20 feet from here, like just right over there.
In the next room.
Next room, yep.
Yep.
I think we've gotten most of the tracks recorded already.
Yeah, most of what we need to record is recorded, with the exception of the last. We need to get started on the last song, but most of it's recorded, and we're gonna really take some time to make sure that we've got the mix dialed in and where we want it to be.
Mm-hmm.
So we're giving ourselves a few months to do that, and I think we're looking at about February or April for a release date.
That sounds like a good release time, I would say, for 2022. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Tom's really taking control on this one because he really wants to be involved in production and things like that. So it's gonna be, yeah, we haven't really set a date yet.
Yeah, not really. Like I say, that's kind of what we're aiming for. I don't see any reason why we can't.
The EP's gonna be called Erotic Friend Fiction, though.
That would be a reason why we can't get it out on time. That would be a reason.
What, you think they're gonna sue us for copyright?
I would.
Well, we'll reach out to them and be like, hey, can we use that?
There you go. You never know. They might be sweethearts about it.
They might. The Bob's Burgers team are pretty chill, man. I think that they're, I want to say they're community oriented for the most part. I respect that.
All right, well, we got to send them our track and be like, hey, feature this on the show.
God,
Yeah.
yes. Yes, you should. Seriously.
Yes.
We totally should. Totally should.
What they might even do is have us send the stems without the vocals in it. And you know how at the end of the episodes they do like a song. They might just like take that music and just record a new song over it.
Hey, they can do whatever they want with it. Like, they could even go on and say, like, Celeste is a dumb bitch over and over, and I'd be totally okay with it.
In the contract. That's okay.
It is okay.
It can say, like, Tom hits puppies or something.
Oh, goodness. So, do you plan on making an entire album eventually?
Any what?
Do you plan on making an entire album?
Oh, yeah. I mean,
No, this one's going to be an EP.
Yeah, this one's an EP.
We will certainly do more full-length albums in the future.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the plan for right now is basically we've got 4 tracks that we're very fond of, and we're just gonna take these and make them as well as we can, and then get them out there.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet, good plan.
I think the single that we had released this year, I really like the direction that one went in, and we just kind of followed that one up just because we're like, oh, we like how this one turned out.
Mm-hmm.
Lyrically, we think it's really fun. So yeah, our single's called Favorite. It's out on all the things.
I think I saw you introduce Favorite on YouTube. Were you at the Skylark when you introduced that? Or Tony V's? I don't remember.
Tony V's, yeah.
That's right.
That was our first time ever playing that song live.
That's right. That was an enjoyable video.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I enjoyed that, yes. So are you planning on making any music videos with some of the songs you've written?
Oh, we do have one out, actually. It's to our song Ginger Cat. It's on our YouTube page. And it's, basically we just went to the cat cafes in Wallingford and Capitol Hill. And it's just footage of us interacting with cats.
By the way, have we shouted out to Gary yet?
Oh, we haven't.
Yeah, so Gary's the man. He did all the filming.
Gary's here.
Why?
Hi, Gary! What? You've been here the whole time?
You haven't seen him like moving stuff around the floor down here.
We've gotten a shot of one of his feet. That's about all we've seen of Gary so far.
What's up? Hey, get back in here.
Yeah.
It's not just
Gary,
cool
what's
lights.
up?
There's a human. Yeah. Hello. Not just cool lights.
There's a couple other human beings here. One of them is Gary.
Hi, Gary.
Hello. I know, I was just like, because we're hosting a bunch of people, and I was like, maybe you want to take a shower at this time. So I'll grab your bags off by the entrance here.
Yeah, so Gary is responsible for our music video and actually pretty much all the filming and the photography.
All of it. Everything.
Literally all of it. So yeah, huge. There's a lot of appreciation for what Gary does.
Yeah, definitely.
None of the footage that you see on YouTube would exist without Gary.
And the vast majority of the photos on Instagram. Yeah.
Gary makes us look good.
which is hard to do,
Yeah,
at
yeah.
least for me.
And like,
Yeah, we got some real ugly. We got some real ugly mofo's in this band.
oh my god, that's really harsh.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I
You know,
have
it's tough. Like,
that's the way of Celeste is that way, right, Celeste?
what's my way?
You're a little harsh.
Yeah,
With
Yeah,
humor. With
Brutal,
humor.
brutal.
I love it.
yeah. I'm a bitch. That's what I'm saying. I'm just a
I love
bitch.
Right.
Well, you know, it's tough. Like, I'm looking at like some of these younger bands that have like hot people in them, and I'm like, gosh, it's just not fair. Like, we have to entirely rely on talent and personality. Like, that's hard to do.
I think y'all got it. You got it.
Right.
I think
It's tough. I'm sometimes looking at these other
Okay,
bands.
so
Oh, sorry.
go ahead.
Oh, cats are cool. How many cats? We have one.
Troy Alexander.
We have one. Her name's Mango. And she hasn't come in here yet, which
She is not. She's
Is she ginger?
strange voices, so she ran and hid.
She is ginger.
but yeah, she's the inspiration for one of our songs.
Right.
Maxine, I think you're muted.
I am. I'm
Use
having
your
audio
cat.
issues. Sorry,
Oh.
friends. So I have a major delay. So after I speak, it's about 5 seconds, and then you'll hear me.
Oh.
So I have just after that, I can laugh and like interact, but not cause too much audio issues. So it's my connection. Sorry, guys.
You know, one thing I've noticed is there are a lot of bands in this area that all are cat themed. Like tons of them.
There
So,
are.
Yeah.
so like
Kitty
my dream
Jones.
show. So like this is a show that I think would be really fun to do. We would book with other bands that have some kind of cat theme in their name, and then us. One of these things is not like the other.
So you have like, I don't know, like Taco Cat, and then
Cat
Oh, there you go.
Alley,
Kitty Junk, Thunder Pussy.
uh-huh.
Oh gosh, there were.
And then you throw Yeti Set Go at the end of it. And it's
Yeah,
like,
he said go.
Who are these people?
There's Hellcats, but they're changing their name, right?
What?
That's too bad. You know what the best
Yeah,
band
no,
name in
it's
Seattle
Super
is?
Bush.
I actually have not listened to this band, but they have the best band name ever. And if they ever want to do a show with us, like we will accept, no questions asked. Sky Penis. I want to know who this band is.
Oh my god.
And I want
Yeah.
them to reach out to us.
I don't know, but I love it already.
Do you know them?
Well, and you have to open for them, so it's Yeti Set Go Sky Penis.
Yeah, yeah. There we go. There we go.
Yes.
We also love playing with bands that have puns in their name. Like that's super important to us.
I was just corrected by the
Alex.
Oh,
chat. Sly, not Sky. Gotcha. Sly Penis. Huh.
Oh, it's Sky. Wait, is it not Sly? I thought it was Sky Penis.
I don't know. I
the
really don't
stickers we
know.
keep seeing in bathrooms say Sky
Yeah, they all say
Penis.
Sky Penis.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
if it is Sly Penis, like that is. Well, that just took a really dark turn.
Wait, he said
There's
no,
another
it
song.
isn't.
I'm just. Oh, okay. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Alex. Thank you so much.
I was like looking at that for a moment. And I was like, wait, have we been getting it wrong the whole time?
It's like-
I appreciate the
Fly in the family penis or something.
He said autocorrect, but funny.
I think the autocorrect is what wants to.
Fucking autocorrect, man.
Yeah, it does not want you to say the word sky.
Dude, it doesn't know shirt.
Insert Bill Clinton joke here.
Dude, it doesn't know shirt. Right.
Seriously. See, that's good. I'm seeing this is a new song, a whole new idea for you, Celeste.
Sly penis. I could probably do it, right?
Live penis.
And there it is.
You should totally be talking about a sky penis.
We can make it happen, I think.
So tell me what your dream venue to play would be.
Oh, that's a great question.
Oh, yeah.
Is it?
Any venue that Mike McCready can get us
Anywhere in the
into.
I'll say Red Rock. If we were ever fortunate enough to play Red Rock,
Yes.
it would be the dream.
Actually, my dream would be to play. I'd love to play Bumbershoot or Austin City Limits.
No, you don't.
Paul, how about you?
Bumbershoot.
My dream show actually is Austin City Limits. That's where my
Ooh.
I've wanted to play Austin City Limits since I was a little kid.
That's very
If I
cool.
can't play Austin City Limits, I'll take the International Space Station.
Oh,
One of those.
Oh,
We want to
okay.
make that happen for you.
I mean, I don't know what kind of venue they have, but
Right?
you can make a really cool one.
I'm
However,
sure
I
they
did
have
want
a
to say
PA
Tom won the
system.
prize. Tom won the prize because Crash wants to play Red Rocks.
Woo.
Tom won the prize because Crash wants to play Red Rocks.
Yes. I'm from Colorado, and yeah.
Okay. I don't know much about that festival, so I can't really say.
Oh, not a festive venue.
Venue.
Yeah.
There are rocks there.
Venue.
I'm sure
They're
They're
red.
rocks. They're very big rocks.
They're red.
This is a
They're red.
Blue Yeti
So,
Pro.
Paul,
What was it called?
there you
It's a
go.
Blue Yeti Pro.
Oh my god, it's called a Yeti Pro? Seriously?
Blue Yeti.
Blue Yeti Pro.
Blue
Not a
Yeti
green
Pro.
Yeti.
Yeti Pro.
That's awesome.
That's
And it
so
is-
funny.
It is an amazing mic.
I don't care what color it
Oh.
is.
I love the spelling of that.
Fly penis.
That's like one of the best autocorrects I've ever seen.
Auto is right. So right.
Well, I don't think we talked about this yet, but Paul actually runs a record label.
What? Let's hear about that.
Yeah, Paul, talk about your record label.
Yes.
Unfortunately, there's not much to talk about. Yeah, so we decided that it would be a great idea to try to launch a record label right on the cusp of a pandemic that we didn't know was coming. So we haven't done a lot with it yet, other than put out a couple of albums during a pandemic. So we're a little bit behind on the timeline that we had set for. So I mean, when we decided to do this, we had some metrics for success kind of set out for us. None of those have happened because literally none of those have happened. Right. So much for that Capitol Hill block party that we didn't get anybody on the stage. You know what I mean? Like it's been rough, but yeah, it's called Eighth Direction Records, and kind of the idea behind it is to obviously put out some quality content, but to put out quality content kind of for talented people who aren't cool enough to get noticed by people who notice cool people. Like there's a lot of talent out there that goes unnoticed because they're just not perfect for some reason, if that makes sense. Mary.
I guess I could expand on that a little too. Because I've primarily done most of the administrative parts of it, getting it organized and whatnot. But one of the biggest challenges that we notice with independent musicians is that oftentimes their primary skill is in music, and to learn all of the other things that makes like musicians that are signed to record labels successful, that often takes significant amounts of time, years even, to build those skills that record labels could just assign to their staff for to take over for musicians. Like, as regular people, we don't have publicists who will tell us like if something is gonna sound bad or good. We don't have like photographers on hand who will be willing to like shoot every show or like record every video. We don't have lawyers who are gonna tell you like, hey, where are you gonna get your royalties? Where are you gonna get like your money? And seeing how this is like a really organic self startup, even assembling our own team to provide that for local musicians is really difficult. Like, so far we still have nobody with music legal knowledge, you know. Like, but the point of this is to create a space for people who lack in those areas to succeed. And that's really not the easiest thing to do, but at the same time, it kind of has to happen because what we're doing right now is not worth dying unheard, you know?
Powerful words here.
We've lost a lot of amazing music to McDonald's over the years. I mean, we just have, you know, like we've lost a lot of amazing music to just the practicality of having to give that up to eat. And so the fewer times that can happen, I think the better we're going to be. The better we're going to be. So.
All right. So I'm trying to find it's Eighth Direction Records. And are you guys on Facebook?
Yes.
And is it the number 8, like eighth?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're also on Instagram.
Got it.
With little content. I have been thinking of events to put together under the Eighth Direction Records label. Yeah, that's it.
Here we are.
Gotcha.
And those are in the works, but seeing how things are finally like starting to revive next year, we're kind of like in the process of making sure our foot's in the door for like live events next year. So it's like a really big juggling act, to say the least.
Yeah, a lot of the things that would have really helped us right out the gate just literally didn't happen. So I mean, we launched a record label and then the whole world shut down for a year and a half. And it's like, well, but you know, I mean, it's just, you know, sometimes you just have to wait a little bit. And so the timetable and the metrics for success are still there. They just kind of have to get shifted until they're possible. Like,
right.
It's just a reality. So
yeah, we've all had to become more creative in this time in our history. So I think that it's just morphing into, you know, whatever it will become for the future. And we're just kind of in that phase of learning how to do that for a lot of things.
Yeah.
I've just kind of taken the time, you know, knowing that a lot of those things just didn't happen and there was nothing I could do about that. I've kind of taken the time to really at least hone my skills as a producer, which you know, that's a constant. There's no end point to that journey. You know, like it's just like practicing an instrument. You just practice. But so since, you know, you kind of get stuck inside, and I've been stuck inside, and I've at least taken the opportunity to try to hone those skills. So
yeah, kind of my hope just moving forward, not just for us, but for everybody, really is that we can just, I think we now realize that this music is not something we should be taking for granted. And, everybody,
Right.
all musicians have something to offer, depending whether or not, the cool kids like them. So I think so what I hope for the future is that we can just bear that in mind and kind of learn a lesson from COVID. I know that sounds horrible. But, that we've learned that lesson that we can't take musicians for granted, and we can't just assume that, we're going to have a bunch of fans and that it's going to, we're going to book all the shows and things like that. Because, it's hard. It really is hard. And, we've never been...
Right.
I don't think, and I think a lot of it is because we're all very introverted. But, I know you wouldn't think that with me, but I really am. But it's tough to appeal to the audience and kind of know all the cool things that people are doing and that kind of stuff. So it is tough for musicians, and I kind of just hope that musicians or not, recognize that. Regardless of where somebody's coming from, they have something to offer in a music scene, and, that we just embrace it. And even if we don't necessarily like the music that they're making, that we still, value it because it's music in and of itself.
Right.
Totally agree with you there. Crash and I were part of a documentary that is focused in on the community field that the Pacific Northwest music scene has. And
what's the documentary called?
It's called Bands of the Pacific Northwest, and it will be
Bands of the Pacific Northwest. Okay.
in the spring. And we were part of their second episode. They did a first episode pilot, and then they reached out to women, particularly ladies of the Pacific Northwest, to highlight what we do in the scene, and also that community feeling that we all have and support, no matter what genre or who you are or what your background is. We do have quite a community of musicians that lift each other up and not tear each other down.
Mm-hmm. So you said they were...
There's that in every scene, but from the perspective of musicians coming from LA and other parts of the nation where it's very cutthroat and very negative, we're more positive to each other.
And you were saying that this documentary is primarily interviewing women in the music scene?
No, that was the second episode.
Oh, second episode. Okay.
So it's everyone in the Pacific Northwest.
Gotcha.
In a sense. Dabbles with, festivals and different musicians, different bands, genres, venues, etc. So, it was an honor to be part of something like that. And it definitely opened our eyes to, that's what our whole mission statement is about, is to build that community network feeling. And we feel it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad that you also, sort of feel that no matter what genre you're working with.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's cool. I'm gonna check. And it's a series, you said?
Yeah, it's a series, and they'll keep us in the loop on.
Yeah.
There's different platforms that were interested. That's why they kept going. They did this pilot episode, and Hulu, Amazon Prime, and Netflix were all kind of interested, but not grabbing hold, but definitely interested to see how it would play out. So it will be streamed somewhere in 2020. Yeah.
Well, we will definitely check that out. It kind of doesn't surprise me that they're doing an episode entirely focusing on women in music. That's
you being a Kurt Cobain fan, you probably remember he quoted that women were eventually going to take over the music industry. That was his prediction for the music industry.
Well, he wasn't wrong.
Bingo.
Sometimes I go to shows and and maybe I shouldn't be bothered by this, but sometimes I kind of am, where people will come up to me after the show and be like, "Oh wow, you're a woman and you're playing music," and I'm like, "Yeah." Like, why does that matter? You know, it's and you know, it's like I'm not. I don't get mad when people point it out per se.
Yeah.
But I don't draw a lot of attention to it when I'm because I just don't really think that is something that people should be at the forefront of everybody's mind. And like I have noticed that like when I'm playing shows and we're playing with like male fronted bands, like all of a sudden like Yeti Set goes up there and all the women are at the front of the stage. Like I've noticed it.
No.
And I'm not like standing up there and being like,
I hate
all
when
girls up
guys.
front. I'm not kidding. Like I'm not doing that because like I know that was all done in the '90s, and I think that really set the stage for, no pun intended, for women to do that, which I think is awesome. But for me, it's like I just don't really think about it when I'm performing. I'm like I'm a legit artist. I have music that I want to share, that we want to share. And we just don't think that the fact that we're a female-fronted band is the most interesting thing about us, you know?
Yeah, Crash had something to say to that, and I wanted to.
Oh yeah, sorry.
No worries. Our echo is terrible, and it might be my fault from my mic, so I'm muting again.
No worries.
I hate it when guys come up to me and say, "Oh, you play drums pretty good for a girl."
Oh, I fucking hate that.
What is that supposed to mean?
Yeah. Like,
Saying you play guitar right for a dude.
I think it's so stupid when people say that. Like for me, it's almost like if I hear a comment like that, like I'm just kind of dumbfounded. I'm like, did you really say something that stupid? Like, I mean, maybe I should be offended by it, but I'm more dumbfounded by how stupid it is, you know? Like,
I don't understand why, you know, whether you have a dick or a vagina, why does it matter? Like, if you can play music, play music.
It matters if you're sky penis, I guess.
Even if you can't play music well.
You know what I'm saying?
Right? Even if you can't play music well, keep playing because you will get better. I swear to you.
Mm-hmm.
You will. Just hang in there.
And you know, I've had my fair share of people being sexist dicks to me when I've played shows. Like we've played venues where they seem like they're kind of misogynistic. Like I've certainly been to jam sessions where people have been misogynistic and things like that. So like I've definitely seen it and it's annoying. I choose not to get angry, openly angry about it, just because I want to focus on my playing and I want to show what I can do. And I feel like my talent in and of itself should be able to speak for that, you know?
Oh, I get that. I'm from the Midwest and
Yeah.
too, so I dealt with that in the music scene there. Lots of sexism, like pretty good for a girl or not allowed to play the drums.
Oh, that's bullshit.
If it's a kit that we're sharing, if you're a girl, you know, I ran into that stuff back in the
ridiculous.
And this was over 15 years ago, you know, this was probably 20 years ago. So it's changed. The culture has shifted. I love the Pacific Northwest scene because I have dealt with way less sexism. It's still out there. Don't get me wrong, it's everywhere. But way less than it's still out there. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's always something that I notice and I have thought about quite a bit, but you know, it's just not something that I personally choose to really dwell on because it's like, you know, people, I mean, I think about bands like Heart, Fleetwood Mac, shit ton of others that probably deserve mentioning, but I'm just not thinking of right now. It's like you think of those bands and it's like they didn't get all the accolades because they were drawing attention to it all the time. They got the accolades because they put out good music consistently and they knew how to put on a great show. Like, I think those should be the only two things that matter. Really.
Agreed. Yes. Musicians are musicians, humans are humans. Yeah.
Right.
I'm just having a human experience over here.
Yep.
That's awesome.
We have a very human person right here. Very human.
So, guys, we're coming up on about 15 minutes left of airtime, and we wanted to ask you what advice you have for other musicians.
Oh. What advice do we have?
Get a good haircut.
Don't judge me. My hair is done this weekend.
No, your hair is great.
I'm hiding that. It's fake. No, I'm just kidding. It's real, but yeah, I'm faking it to make it.
I love the color. It's very pretty.
Thank you.
I think, I think most people would say, like, never give up, keep learning, keep getting better. So, like, which is all important and good advice, but I think more of what I would say is focus more of your attention on networking with other bands and artists and learning from them, because that's going to help you get better, that's going to help them get better, and that's going to help the scene grow. Like, if you go to an open mic or a show and you're only focused on yourself, you're really shooting yourself in the foot. It's the purpose of doing live music should be sharing with each other. And when you take that extra, like a few minutes even, to just go talk to another musician or talk to a fan and someone in the audience, that makes you better. And that keeps you humble, that keeps you grounded.
Right.
Like, for example, we really take advantage of Instagram. Like, we've met a lot of people through Instagram. I think, like, everybody we've done shows with, we met through Instagram.
Pretty much. Yeah.
And there was one band that just followed us on Instagram, and we're like, oh, cool, let's follow them back. And we were planning a show at Drunky Two Shoes, and we reached out to this band, and we're like, hey, do you want to play a show with us? And they're like, oh, sorry, we're busy that night. And I was just like, oh, cool, whatever. And went about my day. And then the next day, or actually, no, it wasn't even the next day. It was like an hour later, they reached out to us and said, hey, we found a band to fit your bill. And I was like, really? And I was genuinely surprised. I was like, you guys didn't have to do that. And he's like, and they're like, well, we're looking out for each other, so of course we are. I'm like, this is a band that I want to work with.
Yeah.
Anyway, Paul, stage advice. Let's go.
What?
Stage advice. Go.
For other musicians?
Yes.
I would say the best advice I could give to maybe new musicians would be don't accept mediocrity from yourselves. And take risks. Take risks. That's what I would tell musicians. Take risks, even if you even if they don't work. Like push those boundaries. Take risks with your sound, with your playing. You'll find places that you didn't know you could find.
100% agree.
I've played with a lot of bands where the people on stage had skills, like legit skills on their instruments. And I've walked away from those shows just forgetting the whole thing because they're like, take some risks, put it out there.
Right.
That is well said. And a
Definitely.
little scary too. A lot of us, humans, speaking overall, don't want to take the risk. We want comfort, we want ease, but definitely if you take the risk, then you never know what could come about from that.
Right. Definitely. I mean, I think even starting a band in and of itself can be taking a risk, Like for me, like just starting to work with Tom. I mean, I wouldn't call it a risk necessarily, but I didn't know what to expect.
I get that. Yeah. In a partnership, you're like, wow, we do everything together. Will this work? Will it be like Fleetwood Mac?
Well, the cocaine has not started to flow.
Yeah, we
yet,
haven't
so-
started
Yes, no
doing coke yet.
cocaine. Check.
Take some
I mean,
Red
maybe
Tom.
Paul is, but we're
Oh,
not.
shit.
Jeez, Paul.
Do you think I could also say something?
Gary wants to.
Go for
Gary
it,
has
Gary.
some advice for musicians.
I mean, well, so I'm a supporting staff member, but
You're the fourth member.
yeah,
Of a lot of groups.
but I guess having been a part of this musical journey in a non-musical way, for any musicians out there who are like going through it day by day and constantly kind of like catch themselves saying out loud to themselves like, do I really want to keep going for this? Like, should I not be finding a full-time job or something and working towards a retirement and whatnot? I think me and Paul have been working together in this music industry for about like 4 years now, and I cannot recall how much bullshit we have faced internally and externally, where he has like wanted to quit so many times, and like if you aren't there to back yourself up, 4 years later you wouldn't have known that, hey, I would have joined another band, or I would have put out like 2 albums, well, 3 albums. Like we've done a tour, and that growth oftentimes is exponential, and it can be extremely slow. Like I've not seen anything linear about this journey. It's not like, oh, we got 50 people at this show, the next one will be 75. Like you could still play to a sold out crowd and still hit like an empty bar a month later, and it should absolutely not discourage you, because years down the road, no matter how tough it gets, you will never stay in the same spot. And I found that to be true. Like you may see yourself having like 12 million listeners on Spotify, but it will never stay that way if you keep at it. So seriously, do not be discouraged, even if the time frame does not fit what you expect it to. The more effort you put into it, the faster you could get there.
Right.
Just don't be discouraged. That's like 80% of the fight.
Yeah, it really is, Gary. That's super sound advice. Seriously, that was very profound.
It really, yeah.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
I
why they have you part of the team.
Huh?
I can see why they have you part of the team.
I try.
Right?
Yeah, Gary does so much for us. He's really quite incredible. We've got a nice little enterprise going here.
I guess you do. That's fabulous.
Also,
It sounds like he knows what he's doing.
also, I'd like to put a sales pitch here, if that's okay.
Please do. Yes, promote
Okay.
yourselves.
If you want to improve your tone and become a better musician, let Tom Sloan make you a custom pedal.
I'm not going to make you a better musician, but I do dabble with guitar pedals, building.
What?
Yeah.
We need to tell Ryan Lee about this guy.
I've already told her.
Yes.
Hey, Ryan, girl, get him to help you.
Push Ryan already there.
She's like pedal queen, man. My goodness.
Ryan,
Really?
Ryan, honey, they're calling you out. You need to.
Yeah, we are. We're calling out Ryan.
Yeah.
But if anybody's out there that likes a vintage style fuzz, or
Yes.
even I've been tweaking a distortion circuit that I'm quite fond of. But yeah, that's kind of the lane that I'm driving in right now. But yeah, that's kind of the lane. Yeah, what I'm building is, I think, sounding pretty good. So
That's great. Where can our viewers reach out to you? How can they order from you?
I would say just through the Go.
Viewers reach out to you.
yeah, that's currently the best way to get a hold of us is just shoot a message to @SetGoYeti on Instagram, Eventually, we'll as branding improves on my end, there'll be other ways that are more obvious to reach out.
I mean, and you've built some really good stuff. Like I mean, my fuzz pedal is great. I always do have at least one person that comes up to me after a show and they're like, "Damn, what was that fuzz pedal you were using?"
I have one of those pedals in my pedal board.
Good.
Yeah.
And Paul, what have been your experiences with Tom Sloan's pedals?
My experience with Tom Sloan's pedals is that they bend the tone. My tone bender bends the tone. No, I love the pedal. It's great. It sounds great. Yeah.
Very good. We have a question from the chat. Bass and guitar type pedals, right?
I mean, what I'm doing works for both. I could conceivably make some tweaks. For example, like if somebody wants a bass distortion, there's some capacitor values I could change out that would let more low end through.
So as you can see, Tom thinks a lot about pedals.
Viola?
Dude, I was at work all day, and there was something in my brain. It's like I have to go home and try it, and I completely forgot about this stream even because I'm like, there's something going on in my brain that's like I need to put this on a breadboard and see if it works.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, our studio is like full of breadboards just laying around.
We're just about done.
So yeah.
Yes. So we have about 5 more minutes left.
We're just
so
about done.
Okay.
And plug yourselves for where our viewers can find your band and follow you once again.
Okay. So if you're on the Instagram, you can find us at Set Go Yeti. That's literally the name that they assigned us. If you'd like to email us and book us for your next gig or bar mitzvah or wedding or whatever, you can send us an email at setgoyeti@gmail.com. You can find our music on Bandcamp, Tidal, Spotify, Amazon, Apple Music. Like we have it everywhere. So let's see. What else? What else is there? Oh, our website is www.yetisetgoband.com. And you'll find all our stuff there.
Where are we playing live next? Remind me.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that.
So,
yes.
This actually just happened yesterday.
Ooh.
We're going to be doing a special acoustic set at the Vessel Tap House in Linwood on December 3rd. Nice. Paul will be doing some acoustic singer-songwriter material as well, so that'll be fun.
Sweet.
Our next full band show will be at Drunky Two Shoes in White Center on December 9th. We'll be playing with Enoughed and Sweet Peace.
Awesome.
That'll be Thursday, December 9th at Drunky Two Shoes.
And then we've got a show in January, don't we?
We've got 2 shows in January.
Yeah, let's plug our January shows.
After that, we have a show on January 7th at the Factory Lux with Tinfoil Top Hat, which is Paul's other band.
Oh, nice.
And Moose Almighty. And then we have another show at the Vessel on January 15th, and we're not really sure who we're playing with that yet. So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, you're all booked up. That's fun.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for having us. We've had a blast.
Yes, we have totally enjoyed having you on the show as well. Thank you so much for being on today.
Thank you thank you for having us. We're really appreciative. Thank you so much.
Aw, well, keep in touch with us.
Of course.
Help promote upcoming shows.
Okay.
And maybe any upcoming tours if you have any coming up,
Yeah, we should do a tour. Let's do a tour.
Yes, you should. All right, everybody. So it has come to that part of the night that we must bid adieu to all of you. But please don't forget to subscribe to your friends and musicians hangout on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook. And definitely follow our friends of Yeti Set Go on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. All right, y'all, take us out. Good night, everyone. Thank you. See you next week. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Yay.
Bye-bye.
That